they're not gonna play the 10 minutes prior to him making that statement. Like, I watched that Drink Chips interview, and he said a lot of great things. Said a lot of bozo things too, but he said a lot of great things. Talking about basically how the system is basically manipulating us in the Jewish media or whatever. Right? They're saying that they don't control it, but they own all of them media outlets and media platforms. So,
what'd you say?
But then check on your phone again. See if we get.
Yep, I got you.
Is it on there?
I got Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yeah.
You got it.
It's right there.
Boy.
Oh, I got it now.
Okay. As long as you guys got it, just basically what you do is share, of course, on your what's the name or whatever. So
there you go.
People will come on and check it out. We got a new thing. We got a new thing. Check.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's you. Oh, you gotta turn it down. Get the L.
Oh, you're not doing YouTube this one?
Yeah, it's YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure it's on Instagram as well, so you can, if you got followers on Instagram, you can.
So how do I share it, boys?
I don't know. I don't know how to share it in there.
That's weird. I can't even see it on mine though.
And if they do get off, I don't know. I got mixed feelings. Just like the Brittany Griner. I'm all mixed up, y'all.
Turn the sound out. Turn the sound down, y'all.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Oh, my sound not even on.
That's mine.
Cool. Check.
Like, I'm mixed feelings. Like, I wanted Brittany Griner to come home, but I didn't want them to release The Merchant of Death.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
Did you see his interview?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he said he has empathy for America. He said this ain't the America that it used to be. He said we sell it. We done sold out. He said we are a shell of ourselves that we've sold.
Nick, we back. Let me know if you see us.
We don't have anything now.
We try to go live on Instagram as well.
We don't do anything.
I see a few people kicking in already. All right, that's what's up. Let me know in the comments, Nick, if you see me on Instagram. All right, and then start sharing from there as well if y'all want to. You know, it's a new thing. We got a new thing. Or it ain't really new. I probably just now figuring it out.
The Merchant of Death. It is the Merchant.
That's probably
what
it is.
name, right?
But let me know or text me or either hit me in the comments, you guys, if you're actually seeing us on Instagram as well.
I was thinking of, you ever seen Lord of War?
Yeah.
With Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
I'm like, is that the
About to
character?
get started.
Yeah.
Because this name was Victor or something too, right? Yeah. So it's like it's kind of loosely based off him, and that's even more crazy.
We got. There she go. Yep, I see y'all. All right, that's what's up.
We in there.
Nick got us there.
Let me go.
All right, man. All right, y'all ready to get started? We ready? Everybody ready?
We ready?
Yeah.
I guess y'all ready. All right, man. Let's get this started.
All our illusions will get the parade, and all the reasons start to fade.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Reasons, the show where you can give your reasons why you think what you feel about what we're talking about today. We should know this, man. We know.
Dear brother, how do y'all deal with erectile dysfunction when you're in a relationship?
I wouldn't know how to do it unless I had it. And remember, if they're talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Peace. I love y'all.
Taking Asian students being accepted.
All right.
School, but it's
I don't know if y'all heard that intro.
Diminish the amount of black
I don't know what's
students
happening
being
here.
admitted to schools.
It's always
So,
something, ain't it?
But that's not being able to
something.
get into these universities.
Speak the truth. Okay.
Oh, that's
What's up? It's your boy Fuel.
Oh, you ready for me?
Yeah,
Fat boy in
man.
the building. You already know what type of time we on. What happened? You ain't even got the camera on me. You talking about you ready?
Hey, I'm doing everything, dog. I got
We
cameras,
in here. What's happening?
got lights, got cameras, got everything going on around here, dude. Trying to do Instagram now, you know what I'm saying? So
you over there multitasking.
I'm multitasking, man. You know what I'm saying? People calling up. People been sick lately, man.
Man,
seriously,
tell them to keep that kung fu to themselves.
Do what?
Take nothing. Some ignorant shit.
Yeah.
Some ignorant shit Trump said. I had to say that. When you hear it out loud, it sounds so bad, and you had to take it back. Like I didn't say that on purpose. You know what I mean? It was so bad. It was real bad, y'all. I'm sorry.
Right.
He said that's all it is. It's just kung fu. What? What?
Well, anyway, man, we got a great show got lined up for you guys today. Once again, part 3 of Shades of Non-Monogamy, where our guests Melissa and Wayne, they back in the house, whatever. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then we also talking about what else did I even put up there, dog? I've been working so much, man. Oh yeah, we're talking about oh, I didn't put it up there. My bad. But it was the couple dating. Couples dating.
So we're kind of going to talk about a few things with the couples. I wanted to kind of talk about, is it mandatory for a couple success to double date?
Is it mandatory?
Right? To deal with other couples. And I'm gonna kind of explain why. And then I also want to talk about, we kind of touched on this before, but really the importance of, for men to practice intimacy with their woman, not sexually though.
Yeah.
Far as, because I know as men we have this issue of PDA, right, which is public display of affection, or just on how to treat their women out in public or in private to show that their women are beautiful. And I hear a lot of men was like, I'm just not that guy, or blase. So I kind of want to definitely get you guys' opinion on the importance of it. And then almost like, why do you think men are that way? You know what I mean? Why do you think that we opt to basically, I want to say, shield our feelings or close away our emotions because we don't either want to be perceived as something else, or we're so egotistical that we feel we don't have to do anything else. Yeah. So I kind of want to break it down.
All right. And before we get too deep in, get into that, man, I want to say rest in peace to a guy that just passed because of this from suicide. Stephen tWich boss, you guys. If you don't know who that is, that's the dancer and the co-host. He's actually a Dancer with the Stars.
No,
dancing.
So you think you can dance?
So you think you can dance? Yes. So you can think you can dance. And then actually he was the co-host as for Ellen,
co-producer. That's what it said.
And producer and executive producer.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he took his life Tuesday, and yeah, man, and it was just so sad. My condolences go out to their family. I think it kind of hit me a little bit different when you meet somebody, because I've met him. You know what I'm saying? And I basically, and just out of the blue, I just picked him up doing Uber. While I was Ubering and shit, and his personality and his the aura of his happiness was just always, it was around. You know what I mean? He was positive about what I was doing. He didn't even really talk about himself, of course. He was like, so I see you. I think on my app I said acting and stuff like that. So he got into asking me these questions and stuff or whatever, and was giving me positive energy and positive acclamation to, do what I'm doing and keep going. Being that I'm coming from Kansas City and stuff like that. And I still remember that, So when you do that, when you get that from someone and you see them on these shows, they are happy and, smiling all the time, and you just don't know something's going on with them. And that's, and I would never guess that this guy would have went out the way he did. You know what I'm saying? And so, I just condolence out to their family, man.
I think the first show that we did, Wayne talked about that, right? We talked about the importance of mental health, and especially of men of color, right? And of black and brown men. And I'm learning, right, to instead of holding a lot of the things in on an ego standpoint, to actually putting it out and communicating it, and not worrying about the feedback or how it's received, but actually getting it out there and letting it out, right? I think that a lot of times as black men, we go around holding a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of frustration, a lot of ideologies of what we think is supposed to be a man. And I think that no matter how much success or how much accolades that you get, I think that you can't do anything, but you can't run from yourself.
Right.
I always talk about one of my favorite artists, Mac Miller, right? And his last Tiny Desk performance, you can just see Mac is in pain. And we take he lost his life due to overdosing, but it's kind of that same thing, right? As with tWich, is just this pain that no one around you can help you with. And I think that as black men, we all need to get on board with really tackling mental health and really talking and expressing the importance of getting through your mental health, right? And working on those traumas and talking about those traumas, because our wives can't truly help us with this, right? I think it's something that we have to start from within. And like you say, good brother, genuine, full of life. But what was it inside of him that made him no longer want to be here? Yeah. That's the scary part, right?
Yeah.
Because you said that when you met him, and I'm pretty sure, because I read a lot of comments and remarks, and all the remarks is he was the light of the life.
Right.
He was the light of the party. But a lot of times, those are the most hurt people, because they're always the ones picking everyone up, and no one's there to pick them up. And I argue and I fight with that all the time.
But you also you have to wonder, because you have your significant other. You're not talking to that person. Why not? Why aren't you talking to that person?
It goes into what we want to talk about later, like, right? I think as men, it's an ego thing. I think it's dealing with a certain one. We always talk about this crazy. Every show we have, we always talk about this. Men have a hard time properly articulating how they feel. It all starts there.
Right.
Right. And then when we do communicate how we feel, depending on how it's received, is how we continue to communicate. Right. So if I communicate to you in my most vulnerable state, and as our women sometimes are very strong, she's going to go directly to the solution. And I may at that moment been looking to be coddled, right? And you didn't coddle me at that moment, nor should you have at that moment. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. But me, in my ego and not being able to properly articulate or properly handle my emotions, I took it negatively. And now I'm holding that shit in, right? Yeah. Now I'm no longer expressing those feelings in those moments of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because now I'm embarrassed, and now I don't want to be wrong, or now I don't want to feel like, okay, I'm going to be basically not disregarded, and all those things that you feel when your feelings aren't validated.
I think some of the things is I guess what makes it so hard. Say for instance, I almost see myself in a position like that, and it was a time where I knew, and the people that I called was close to my friends that actually really knew me. there was times where I know that I don't care what they're doing, where they are. They know that they call me, I'm there. I'm jumping. You know, I had an incident probably like a week ago, less than a week ago, you know, where I know that I would be in there for this person no matter what. Then I asked them for something very simple, and they wasn't there. You know what I mean? My mind went into, you know, that's for one, it's really messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have someone else to talk to about it or say something about it or whatever, then that builds up mentally with you. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of makes you wonder, like, I've been here for that, but they can't be there for me. You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of mental breakdowns go with people, you know, and really learning who your real true friends is. And I think because of us having the shows that we've been having, I've thought about, you know what? Obviously, they just not, you know, you basically was just tested that this is your real friend or not.
Right.
This is your real friend. And look at it in that perspective. But if I had not looked at it in that perspective, or I had not had the knowledge of what we've been talking about doing our shows or whatever, I would have been in that place. I would have been in that place just last week. You know what I mean? You know, I would have been in that place when I told you about the best friend I grew up with years ago or whatever, and left me stranded here in Cali, nowhere to go. Till this day, he don't know if I'm alive. You know what I'm saying? Unless he see me on the show, of course. You know what I mean? But until this day, he still went and didn't care.
He'll say he don't know if I'm alive.
It didn't care to the point where I went on the highway, on a busy ass highway, trying to bring you gas, whatever, because you ran out of gas. I helped you move your shit every year because you gotta go on something. You know what I mean? And it's kind of, I asked you to do one thing, and you didn't check on me to see if I'm okay. You know, and that's the thing. Sometimes people think that because of your personality, who you are, and whatever, just, you know, I guess because of who I am, he figure I'm gonna be all right.
I'm gonna be all right.
And it's not always the case. So I'm saying this to you guys that have close friends and stuff like that. That you think that's going to be all right, regardless on something that they're going through. Check on them. You know what I mean? And let them know, because even just that little check will help make them all right.
It can save somebody's life.
It can.
I think that just being more attentive, right, to our friends, and I think we got to start paying more attention, but then also caring for one another more. Mm-hmm. Because I think that me and my brother is so funny that we these two hood dudes, right, mm-hmm. or past hood dudes, but when we get together, it's either real Black activism or love, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about relationships and how to be better men, but then also when he hurt or when I'm hurt, mm-hmm. it's this safe space that we've created. We're not really say much. It's like this, we just know that there's a space here.
Your presence alone.
It's just that, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a space here. You can say anything. You can cry in here. You okay in here. And I think that we as men, we need that space, just the free zone. This is something I'm working on with my woman with, and she's learning with me. I sometimes just need a free zone to free from tyranny, free from ridicule, free from all of these things. Uh-huh. I just need a free space to kind of let it all out. And then once I let it all out, let's pick it up and let's prioritize it, right? And let's compartmentalize it and say, okay, well, babe, you don't need that. Uh-huh. Okay, let's get rid of that. I see where you're coming from with that. Let's put this over here for a second and let's work on this. But this, babe, this is important because I've seen something right here. And I'm teaching her how to do it, but also learning to stop being so egotistical and so soft. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by so soft as meaning wearing my feelings on my sleeve when she's being constructive, right? And when she is giving good game, but I don't want to hear it at that time. I think a lot of time our ego does that to us because our mental goes back to our mental health is we're not able to take constructive criticism, right? And understanding that this person isn't saying anything to hurt me. What they just said is actually only going to help me. But I think a lot of times, because we don't know how to properly articulate our emotions or digest our emotions, right? It's hard for us to kind of get over the fact that as men, no one, not even women, know how to actually deal with our emotions either. Yeah. And so it's going to happen that way. Yeah. And then with us understanding, okay, shit, is that serious? You know what I mean? So what you got over there?
Yeah, nah, so what I almost feel like you're alluding to is what we're gonna bring up later on about double dating, right?
Yeah.
I think that this kind of goes into what we have been talking about. We brought today about community, right? And so this is to your point, is that I believe that it's all about having the right people around you, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have these right people around you who model for you, you're in turn going to be that as well, because you see it and you see it working well for them, right? And so I think that we have these people around us who aren't really for us, right? And they don't really care about us the way we care about them, right? And so we have to, and I think that us loving ourselves and putting in that work on ourselves and knowing who we are, these people start to get eliminated out of our lives. You know, we start to, and it's not that you saying, oh, I'm cutting you off. You just don't have space in my life anymore, because you don't know how to show up for me and care for me. And because you can't show up for me and care for me, I'm not going to be as available to you anymore. Right. You know, and that's not to slight them or whatever, but we just not the same anymore. We're not the same space in our lives anymore, right? And because I'm trying to grow and be better, so I need these type of people around me. Now, and when I hear people say, "Oh, those people don't exist," I'm like, man, I know those people because I got them around me. Right? Like they're out here. It's just how you show up, because we so used to showing up. I the other day I made this phrase that you know, everybody's dating in a chaotic chaos, right? Because it's all just whatever. But if you leave that and you go out and not be afraid to see what else is out there, you'll be amazed, right? Mm-hmm. That's why, and I hate when people start talking about alpha and beta males, right? Because again, what we're talking about, you're talking about you saying beta males because they're more in tune with their emotions, right? Well, they're the more courageous ones because they aren't afraid to speak on how they feel. Right? You bottling all your emotions up and don't know how to deal with it, and now you get, and that's how you get yourself in a situation.
Absolutely.
Right? And so the people who can express their emotions and process them are going to have probably going to be more successful in a sense of being able to enjoy life better, because they're going to hopefully find the people that they get around them that are going to compliment them, you know, in life, you know, and just help them grow as people. So
there's so much there. I just want to say to you too, Fat Boy and Fuel, for that I really appreciate this experience being here on this podcast with you in your space. When we first talked about doing this, I went on and watched your guys' stuff, and I was like, I like this. Yeah. I like this. It felt like such a good balance. And I think I wrote it in the email to you guys of like, I love how there's all the parts, like there's deep conversation here, there's laughter, you know, and it just felt really good. It felt really genuine. And I just want to thank you for having this space, because it doesn't feel like a space where I feel like, oh, I have to be on, you know what I mean? Right. And I have to come and I got to be my best self and all this stuff. And it's like, no, we just show up. Genuine people, right? And it just feels good. I mean, and that's, I think, to the point of you and your brother, to the point that we were talking about double dating and things like that, is like, I think we all kind of desire that, of having that space of like, where can I go where I could just, you know, be me, and I had to like put on this persona. I mean, you know, truth. This before we came here, I was in the room crying.
It's okay.
I did not feel like coming today.
Absolutely.
You know, it was a hard day today.
Because mommy's
all of that.
All
of that. But you know, I knew it was like, okay, got to do this. We said we're going to do this, and not in this like, oh, let me be strong way, but it was like, it's okay. I can show up and tell them. Okay. And I felt like I wanted to say that today.
Yeah.
You know, especially I felt like I wanted to be like, hey guys, today was hard.
That's okay. You know what? I love the fact that, it's just what we're saying. I love the fact that you feel that this is the space for that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, that means that we've done our job without doing our job, right? We are genuine people, and you feel, hey, I can tell Fat Boy and Fuel I'm having a bad day. And not only can I tell them, I can work through that bad day, and by the time I leave here, it's going to be a good day because I'm able to lay that and put it on the table. I think you hit some things on the hill. I want to say, how often do we go through the world being someone that everyone else wants us to be?
Yeah, often.
Right? And I think that's what you get with your Twitches, your Mac Millers. You get these deficits because I'm going through the world being someone that I don't want to be. And I want to kind of allude to
I think
the transgender and homosexual men. And I said it to say, I always talk about James Baldwin. And here it is, you have this prolific author who has a wife and a family, but he is a gay man.
Yes.
Think about that. Think about having to pretend to be a straight man.
Just think of Jenner.
When society,
Jenner did it for
even Bruce Jenner, right? In society where how I feel is taboo. And so I said it to say, that's why I'm kind of course, I don't want it the perpetuation. I don't want it forced, but I kind of have to step back because I always think of Mr. Baldwin. I think about how difficult that is to go through life as someone else. And this is probably the strongest black man that I've ever seen. Most masculine black man I've ever seen. And having to deal with that and having to die with that almost, right? And it's almost the same thing as that mental health and having to be this image of this man. And he was just as strong in the civil rights movement as Malcolm X. With his voice and his strength.
One of the things and one of the problems are back in the day, we couldn't be ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And we couldn't, because we're going to, by our families or whoever they're going to talk about us or whatever the case would be. Now that it is a little bit more open and people are kind of like finding themselves or talking about themselves, now you still have another problem because now even when they go out, they're getting taunted at or getting talked about or violent shit going on or whatever the case would be. So now it's causing people to still be kind of scared to say who they are, or what they doing, or what they, just how they title themselves. I mean, it's 50 million titles now or whatever. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But people are, it's kind of like we're going backwards sometimes. At some point in time, we're starting to go backwards. What you want to say?
No, I just think that again, it goes back to, like how many times we've been in a room full of men and they start and men start women bashing, like, oh, women is this, or women blah blah blah. And
I'm known for it.
Right. Right. and I've known that I've at points in my life I've sat in silence and not said anything, right? And so again, I'm now helping to perpetuate this ideology because I'm not saying anything, right? Same way we say that white people don't say nothing when they see a crime happen to a black person, right? It's the same exact thing. And so, now understanding that again, if I speak up in that moment, right, and let everybody know that, hey, this is not okay. And maybe it's somebody else in the room like, man, I'm just going along because I feel like I need to fit in, because we do that, right? We all, like you just said, we all want to fit in. We present ourselves as something that we're not, in just to be accepted. So then moving into society now, if we continue, we put up this facade, and now in society we start to put that same front up, right? And so now people get ridiculed because no one stand up for them, because again, we got to stay in character, right? And it sucks that we can't again model for everybody else. If we step up, somebody step up, it's likely that somebody else will step up, right? But we don't do that. We stay safe. Yeah. So,
and which it's detrimental.
Yes, 100%.
Right, to our health, to our success,
to our mental
health. I think that it's crazy you said. I think it's acceptance silence is acceptance, and we say that for the bad stuff, right? But as men in these groups, when we are doing this bashing of women, when we are perpetuating these negative stereotypes, there does need to be that one person. Yeah, but not so much. Like, I have been making it a conscious decision to go back to all my buddies and tell them, hey, bro, I was wrong. I was wrong on the things that I was telling you about women because I've met this woman.
Yeah.
And she, even though she does the women things, she makes me feel like this. And there are women that we were talking about. Those women do exist, but we're not going to get them if we continue to act the way that we were acting. So for that, I apologize. But what I have learned is when the damage is done, the damage is done. And you've made a great point about almost checking that shit at the door, right? And say, hey, that ain't acceptable in this crowd. Now I'll sit down to be myself. Well, what is acceptable? You're acceptable. I have this thing where I'm known as Regular George, and it was a situation where, you know, my brothers and all of them are kind of in gangs and whatever, and we go hang out, and everybody introduced, you know, I'm little such and such. I'm little such and such. And I say, hey, I'm George and I'm regular. Right? And I swear to you, that was the greatest night I had in my life, because they were like, oh, cuz it's Regular George. Get Regular George a beer. Make sure Regular George okay, because Regular George is good. And that was the day, just being funny. I was really being an asshole, but being funny, I found myself in my own identity, right? I found a true identity, say, oh shit, it's okay to be yourself. And not only is it okay to be yourself, it's accepted, right? It's okay for you to be yourself, but then people like it when you're yourself. They can deal with you because it's genuine and you're not trying to be someone else. And so I say that to say, all my brothers and sisters, especially my brothers, man, one, it's okay to be yourself. Two, it's okay to talk to someone. Three, mental health is very real and important. And four, pray, brothers. Pray. We gotta really, I feel like, be like the women community, and we have to be our backbone. Not all the time, but I think that it's calling for men to step up to the forefront and, like Wayne say, and start to basically kill these negative conversations amongst us, right? And amongst how we are, because that ego shit is killing us. I'm learning to be a better man because I watched my father's regret and the things he's done and the decisions he made eat him alive. And thank God I have that experience and that example on what not to do, because it's so easy to slip into that ego and let society tear you apart, man, and turn you into something that you're not.
Let's get into comments real quick. Nick says suicide has no face. Look at Robin Williams, just sad. She said suicide is equal to brain damage. Mentally, you're not there. Silent killer. And just like your strong friends, call them, check on them. Just check on them. They are strong for you, but you are there for them. Right. What else we got? Oh, Nick, you talking a lot. Facts. That was me waving. Fat boy, I see wedding bells with this woman. Don't let her go.
Absolutely, I agree.
We know it's coming. We know it's coming.
I agree.
Know what I'm saying?
Definitely, I agree.
It's coming.
And you know, you have the ticker on the ticker there. I saw the crisis lifeline.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I kind of wanted to make mention of that too, because you know, to your points about mental health, and I want to normalize like calling out, you know, a hotline or something like that. Like sometimes it's harder to talk to the people that you're closest to, you know, like even though we want them to be there or they want to be there for us, sometimes it's really hard because there's, you know, we got a whole relationship. There's more at risk and at stake, you know, there's expectations and roles and all of these things and
fear of disappointment,
all of that. And so I kind of want to normalize things like these hotlines or just whatever places. Don't like, check it out, call it out. You know, what's the worst that can happen? Like, try to find somewhere to talk, you know, if it's not a loved one or a close one. I mean, sometimes it's harder too, because those loved ones and close ones, because they love you or because they have expectations, they got, you know, advice and all of this stuff. And like you said, sometimes you just need a space to talk. Like you don't even want all of that. You just want to show up and cry or whatever, be upset, be angry until you kind of cool off. And you know, you don't want to have to do all of that. So find a place, a hotline, you know, somewhere or something. It doesn't have to be a family, a close friend or whatever. Just find something. Try, like, just normalize doing that, doing the action of reaching out. You know, I'm studying for my exam right now, my clinical exam, to become licensed. And I just want to throw this point out because it's something that really helped me. And it's the word responsibility. And I've always felt like really challenged by that word responsibility. It's like, it's a lot. It's like responsible. It's like so much to show up for, you know. It's like but anyway, in my exam, there's like this theory that reframes the word responsibility as being able to respond. So instead of like responsibility, like, oh, you got to show up, you know, expect to do all these things, it's really just the being able to respond. And the ability to respond, should I say. And so being responsible is having the ability to respond, whether it's right or wrong or whatever. It's just not getting frozen, you know, and it's being able to like, oh, okay, I could do this. I could be alive. I could show up. I could respond. I can do something, whatever that is. And I kind of like the reframe of that word. I don't know if that's a far reach. I hope you can.
No, I like that. I like that.
But
I like that.
You know, for whoever that can help, like, it's just try something. Because I think that's the place, like when it comes to, you know, like I said, mental health and suicide, we're feeling isolated and alone. It's too easy to just kind of like, you know, just go through it alone, and you don't have to. So.
Oh yeah. I like I said, I've been in that one. I think even with this thing with tWich, and before I get into it too much, but before I even got into this thing about tWich or whatever, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, it still kind of helped the fact that it happened, you know what I'm saying, to at least rank up again, you know what I'm saying, and keep awareness or whatever, like you're saying or whatever, to give it information. And as you can see, guys, I'm scrolling there at the bottom there. You can also call the network, previously known as the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, at 800-273-8255, or text to 741-741, or visit speakingofsuicide.com /resource additional resources. So yeah, we got to keep going, but yeah.
Focus on your mental health, man.
Most definitely.
I've been honestly trying to be a better man, y'all, and it's working for me. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's important that we all just start to just have the ability to respond. Right? I think that that's big, and to who we are, how we feel, and what we want. Our true intentions. You know what I'm saying? Let me jump on there. Nick said, sometimes when you tell your so-called friends something, they use it against you and tell your business to the next, which in turn causes a deeper depression. Absolutely.
Yeah. Certain you have certain people that fish information out of you in order to turn it against you.
Yeah.
Or to be a negative towards you.
A negative Nancy.
This is why us as a culture, Blacks, have a serious problem with helping each other, because we don't trust each other. You know, back to the instance about Deion Sanders and Dr. Umar. You know, they had, you know, Dr. Umar was giving all this negative energy about him, but yet you are advocate for us, supposedly. You know, regardless on knowing, you know, what you heard that he said or done or whatever the case would be. You know, when you're an advocate for someone like that, you should be getting facts. Talk to Deion. You know what I mean? If you in that space where you can do that or whatever, you know what I mean? And sometimes when people don't do that and they're talking about you, you know, that can trigger a person's mind to be like, But then I done everything I can, and now they still out here talking this shit about me,
Yeah.
you know, and that would drive people in a negative space or whatever, and maybe, you know, push them if they wasn't strong enough or don't have other people around them or whatever to push them to it. So it's stuff like that, man, that we got to try to get away from.
But,
you know, and it's hard to, because it's actually done between us or whatever, you know. So when like she said, when we try to share things with our friends, you know what I mean, and they go off and, oh, you know, such and such didn't work. I told you it wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? All that negative energy or whatever. It's
but
hard
I think
to get.
Wayne hit the nail on the head with that, right? I think it's just all about picking.
Exactly. And I was about to say that. Yeah, it's about who you have around you.
And it's about who you have around you.
Yeah, but sometimes you think the person that you have around you is that person up until it gets to that.
But to my point, right. When you for real start to do that work and learn yourself, you know who's for you and who's not. We can make excuses for who we want to, but we know who they are. You know, we want to believe that they won't do it to us.
But also, when you start to do that work, here's kind of what I started to experience too. I'm like, well, you know what? If they think that about me, they think that about me. Like, that's okay. And I think there is all of this fear because it's not normalized to talk about where we're at, to openly talk about our feelings and talk about where we're at. So then we bottle it in. And then when we finally need to talk to somebody, we like, it's like all our cards on the table. We talk to somebody, but it's such a high risk because we're so afraid. Are they going to tell our business? Like they said, we're going to tell our business.
Or it just sounds just like a gripe or just a complaint.
Yeah, all that. And so then it's just, then now there's like so much at stake for you to open up. So if it was more normalized though, to just talk about, and something's like a practice that I try to do that can help this, something so simple as like when somebody says, how was your day? Before I used to be so good, you know, we all do like, I'm good. Or how are you? I'm good.
I'm wonderful.
Good.
Yeah, that's mine. That's my favorite thing. And, I'm wonderful.
And however, I mean, but trying that when you aren't feeling good, try it out. Be like, you know what? Not so good today. You know, I'm not really feeling well today, but I'm okay. Or you don't have to say a but or whatever, but that little practice I think can help us normalize kind of talking about without having to put all our business either, because you don't have to share all your business, but I think
you don't have to bottle it in either.
You don't have to bottle it in either. Right. And I think that little practice of doing that will help us feel better. Like we don't then doesn't feel like it's such a bottle in, and we can not have to put so much, I think, weight on what people are going to think about us and say about us, because we're like, oh, it's okay to, like I am struggling. You know, whatever. We're not going to, and it's not going to hurt us so much, even if somebody has an opinion about us or whatever the case, because you're not going to care.
Because you accepted it.
You accepted it. You're like, this is human.
I like that.
So
I'm huge with
DJ Greg.
Like I do that a lot.
DJ Greg says, you all have valid facts.
Thanks, Greg.
Greg, appreciate
Watch out there, Greg.
In, right? Also, you guys, if you guys are on Instagram, and we're on Instagram Live, we still on there. I hope we still on there. Continue. You can actually comment from there as well. You know what I'm saying? So you guys can leave your comments from there as well.
Like, share, subscribe, send it to all your friends.
And share it. Yes, most definitely share it. If you're on YouTube and everything, you guys continue sharing or whatever. These are real good conversations we be having in this piece. Okay.
Definitely.
Let's get into. I guess we're gonna talk about the double dating.
Let's get it.
Wait, before we go into that, I want to know, Fat Boy, what is your process for coming up with these topics? Because I really enjoy them.
Like y'all. So a lot of times
we be going through something.
I like it. A lot of times,
I wouldn't call it that one.
Dealing with the woman that I deal with a lot of times, and then so what happened was recently, I can tell you exactly where this topic came from.
Okay.
We went out with her friend, a guy friend that she has, and he has a woman, and she was just saying like his lack of intimacy and whatever. So it kind of stemmed from that. But prior to that, I'm not big on double dating, and me and my girl kind of got into a strong debate about. She basically said that for a relationship to be successful, you need to be around other successful couples, right?
Yeah.
I got what she was saying, but I felt like I don't think that makes or breaks a relationship.
Right.
I get what she was saying, right? And then a lot of times we clash because I get what she's saying, but I'm trying to get my point across.
You're trying to speak to the point where you don't agree
I
versus
don't agree
hearing her for what she's trying to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so we kind of bumped heads. And so I wanted to bring it to the table.
Yeah.
I had to ask now because now, like I said, I'm constantly on growth. Am I tripping? Because I have an ego thing too. Right. And I have my own perceptions on my reality or what reality is. Right. And so I like to bring things to the table. So a lot of times I probably had a strong debate about it. Mm-hmm. I've grown from it. And I want to see what, especially when you guys are here, I want to see how you guys break it down and talk about it. And then I also want to see how the viewers want to break it down and talk about it, because I know that we all go through these things. And it goes to a point where I'm almost like the guinea pig. I'm okay with sharing these emotions. Yeah. I'm okay with talking about this live in front of y'all watching me go on my journey, because it also helps with my confidence on no matter what you say about Fat Boy lives in his truth. Yeah. And as long as I live in my truth, I'm being myself. You get what I'm saying? And so you can't really hurt me because I know what I gave you, and I know also it's somebody else out there that's going to benefit from what I'm saying. So a lot of times it's usually life, or we'll just come in here and we're talking, but a lot of times I've lived it already. Yeah. So that's just a Jew for y'all. A lot of times this is something that Fat Boy has experienced already.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And thank you.
And to that point, I don't believe someone should base themselves off of another couple, because sometimes you get out together and some couples are trying to upshow the other.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just even like you know, you have some that are very affectionate with each other and want to show that off in front of you, or you know, and who you are, whatever. Then your girl might be looking like, "Wow, I ain't getting that." You know what I mean? So it can actually turn. It can be good for you in some ways, but it can be bad in others.
No, we you know actually talked about that on the double date. That's what made it dope. We talked about that, right? Yeah. Because I'm very PDA, and it doesn't have to always be kissing. I'm rubbing. I'm constantly showing affection. I'm opening up the door for her. I'm opening up her car door.
Right.
And the guy not so much. So my thing is sometimes I don't like double dating with guys because most men have a thing about being intimate with their woman, and I don't.
Right. Because that's
always been my game anyway, right? I've always been intimate with the ladies. Now, my woman definitely gonna be intimate with her, and it's not necessarily, like I said, it's not necessarily sexual. It's I'm flirting with her. I'm rubbing her leg while we're at the table, but I'm not trying to show you up though. Yeah. Because but guess what? Sometimes on our way up here, am I wrong? I was rubbing her leg. Wrong?
Is it women? Maybe it's me. I think I don't know. I think women pays attention more than that than men do. I never see. I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Men pay attention
because
to it.
I don't pay attention to
because they'll say shit like this. I'm gonna tell you how I know men pay attention to it. Men are like, damn, bro. You sure is kissy over there. Or,
oh, really?
Yeah, men
I've never seen that. I never heard that.
Men make a joke.
Really?
Right? When they're uncomfortable with the way that you are with your woman. Really? And I know we all have been in this situation where it's this certain affection that you're showing your woman. He like almost uncomfortable, which makes her uncomfortable because she looking at him like you said, like, nigga, you need to step it up.
Right.
This man that pulled out her chair.
That's why I said that she's the one that's kind of more.
Feeding her at the table.
That's why I said
you're not. But
you know,
as a man, we try to play like we're not affected, but our ego is like, really? Damn, he kind of embarrassing me. Because I'd have been on dates where men that just look at you like, oh, here this nigga go, here you go on that, like. But that's just me. I'm like that, and so that was my big pet peeve. My thing about double dating because
have it ever turned into a competition?
No,
like with me is
normally
I'm stupid like that. I'll be like,
normally,
hold on, baby, let me. You know what I'm saying? I would be like, you know what? I'm trying to rub on her and do the same because I see that's happening, and I know that I'm gonna hear it when I get back home. If I'm not giving it to her, the same. You know
normally what I mean? There is no competition. Mm-hmm. I want to say because I'm not saying I'm the only man, mm-hmm. right? I'm just happen to be more in tune with my emotions when it comes to my mate. Yeah, that I'm, like I say, I'm very affectionate, and a lot of men are affectionate behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. I'm affectionate all the time. Yeah. Like I'm affectionate when we're at home. Mm-hmm. I'm affectionate when we're at the grocery store. I'm affectionate on the date. So I'm only doing what I always do.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right. You being you.
Other guys, they only affection when they trying to get some. So you know what I'm saying?
Or I feel they gotta prove something.
I was gonna say crazy, but you know when they trying to prove something to someone else, and you can see it though, right? If the woman knows that, oh man, this ain't you. You putting on. But I wanted to say that to address, like, men, we gotta stop that. Right? We got to start being more intensive and more, I want to say, emotionally involved with our women. Yeah. I think that.
Or just worry about your shit. Don't worry about me. Or don't be, you know
I think that the reason why you're worried about mine is because deep inside.
That you ain't doing right.
No, not just that, but deep inside, you want to do this. But you don't know how to do this. Yeah. And be genuine. And now that you're caught in this rock and a hard place, you're trying to force it. And now she knows you're forcing it instead of just saying,
right.
Like, how you doing it?
Or she get on that. Don't be doing that because he's doing it.
Absolutely, she gonna say it. Most of the time, she gonna say it because she's gonna know that you putting on for me or for you. So I always tell men.
So what was the I guess the conversation between you guys? You said y'all kind of got into it or whatever. What was the main what was the meat of the conversation? Yeah.
She just, like I said, she more feels like the point she was really making was that it's good to get out with couples together and learn from them and see what successful couples look like, hang and meet, because you like Wayne was saying, basically you are what you eat, your environment, you know what I'm saying, and the people you hang around. So that's what she was more talking about. And then also having your own time. Like she needs her own time and I need my own time, and then we need time together to hang out with other couples to be more successful. I'm always the devil's advocate because I'm like, well, I don't believe that, right? I don't agree with that. I got what she was saying, though. I don't agree with that because I think that a lot of times, especially women, it's an easier way for them to admire someone else's lifestyle. Right? It's so easy for a woman to say, well, James just took her to Barbados. And we don't have Barbados money right now. You get what I'm saying? And so now I'm competing with damn James. Because not because I'm trying to win, I'm trying to keep up with James, but because I'm trying to make my woman happy. Like James is making his woman happy. And I think that a lot of times
then that can cause friction.
That could cause friction in our relationship because I'm trying to make her happy, or I'm trying to live up to this idea that another couple is that's their couple, that's their relationship, that's they have their own identity. We don't know if James was working X amount of jobs to make sure this trip got paid. We don't know the details into their relationship.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses. And so I think that's why that was my point. But she made a great point, like she always does, is hanging around a couple like Wayne and Melissa and understanding and learning new things and being in that environment can help you maintain a successful relationship. I answered my own damn question.
Because basically it is. It's kind of like you can see these things with your friends and stuff like that when you double dating and stuff like that. and you can be wanting them things, but you don't want to put pressure within your relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you adding pressure to me now because you want these things that you know that your friends have or whatever the case would be, and we know we're not there yet.
Yeah,
you know. So my thing is let us get there. At least I know that this is where we want to go. You know what I mean? And not stay stagnant where we at. You know, you want the nice cars, you want the nice house, you want the blah 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? But don't make it seem like, you know, oh God, such and such a does it, and such a has it. I want it too.
I have to have it.
And I have to have it.
Yeah, I have to have it.
Or feel like that you have to have it
because I'm not. I think, especially
and that's some of the mistakes. That are some mistakes.
It's almost like I have to have,
but that's
I'm not who I am.
That's a lot of that's a mistake in a lot of people's relationship, even if they're not double dating or if it's not another couple with her. It's just to feel like they see someone has something and they feel like they have to have it, and they find a guy that can give it to them, but yet that person is not giving it to you for the reasons you probably think they are. You know what I mean? They're probably doing it have you and others that you're doing it for. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That type of thing, whatever, those players or whatever. They got big money, blah, blah, blah. What? Yeah, I'm gonna do this for you, babe. I'm gonna treat you like this because you see such and such and such and such or whatever. But he's got another one. You know, he's got somebody else or whatever too, because he's doing the same thing for them too. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful
on trying to mirror your relationship after others.
Well,
and that's what I could have said.
Yeah.
But that's not what I said, ladies and gentlemen.
You just said it, though.
Nothing like that.
She see this.
Yeah. I said nothing like that.
But again, it goes by who are you trying to model yourself after, right? Because we're talking to the people who whatever, right? But that's unrealistic. Like this dude who can, I'm taking my girl to Barbados next week and such and such next week. Well, we're not trying to model ourselves after them. Like we're not even in, whatever.
In that league, right?
Yeah. So let's manage our expectations, and at the same time, like if I want to learn how to do something, I want to be better at something, I'm gonna hang out with somebody who do that thing or are better than me at doing that thing. So if I do have a couple who is a friend who they are genuinely able to work through a lot of issues and problems, and they are able to just how I see them operate one another, communicate well, then I would want to hang out with them because they can now give me some tools. I can watch them interact. It's genuine, it's real. Now they're modeling a great thing for me too. I can bring back to my relationship. So recently, me and Melissa went on. I guess it was a double date. We went out. We were out on Saturday, and was it Saturday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturday. And the woman, she had said something. And I feel like I'm pretty good about expressing myself, right, with Melissa. But she said the way she said it and the way she framed it, I was like, oh my God, you just gave me words to what I need. Mm-hmm. Like when Melissa hangs out, like I need Melissa to check in just so I can make sure she's good. Mm-hmm. Like instead of being like, hey Melissa, I ain't hear from you, right. But it's like, hey, I need this thing. But how can I? But it's coming out as it's different because I'm frustrated probably with not having the words. I'm feeling pressure because she's asking, well, why do you need this? And so I'm feeling uncomfortable. But the truth is, hey, I need this thing, right? But
it helps me,
right? But because we hung out with them, and she's framed it in that way, I was able to take from that. It's like, oh my God, thank you. I appreciate it. You just giving me words for something that I've been trying to articulate for a couple of years now, right? And so I do think that we can benefit from hanging out with others, but again, it depends on who we're hanging out with. Right? Because like you say, you are genuinely affectionate, right? That's amazing because a lot of women would want that, right? But yeah, if her guy is not like that, what I'm saying, and then, for whatever reason, maybe he is not that, maybe he is not that anymore, whatever. But they could have had a conversation about it early on, and if they did have a conversation, he used to be like that, he switched up, then I understand why he would feel uncomfortable because you making him uncomfortable by doing the thing that he isn't able to show up to do, Absolutely. Which I get that. I understand
anyway, that's none of your business and it doesn't even matter. So just show up to the dinner. Like that's a lot of energy and thought on thinking about the other person and how you're gonna all that stuff.
No, we get that, but you know what it really is though. Mm-hmm. Like you hanging out with people, we've hung out and we've known how it's been in the past, how we see people show up or not show up because of how we show up with one another, and we consider they got feelings and emotions and they going through their whatever. I'm talking about, so we know.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, like choose your date.
That's what I just said. I just said that.
Yeah. Wisely. Yeah. I think you both had great points though. Like I feel both of you because I truly believe in I guess I didn't think about it specifically double dating, but it could be that, or just in general community. Like, I think probably the biggest like obstacle to our relationship, maybe one of the biggest obstacles to our relationship, was that we went through a lot of shit in private. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we didn't want to be that couple. Right. We didn't want to be the couple having problems. Yeah. We didn't want to, put our business out there. We were told, like, don't talk about your relationship. Don't put your business out there. Keep it to yourself. You're private. Like, deal with that shit on your own. Yeah. And I think that was a big downfall for us, because we had to pretend, we had an image to uphold, and we didn't want to be judged for not having sex when we weren't having sex, for not being affectionate and intimate, for not being affectionate and intimate, or whatever the case. And so, we just had to pretend a lot, and that was hard. And but not only because it wasn't just like, not only because it was a lot of energy, but also I don't think it was allowing us to really face the things that we were facing. And so I think it is helpful when you do get out there, that shit is uprooted. That contrast of another couple brings up the stuff in you, and it brings up the stuff in your relationship. It's like that needs the attention sometimes. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. And then on the other hand, Wayne, he uses this word often that, like, I cringe when I hear it, of like power couple. I'm like, I don't want to be the power couple. Like, don't stop that. Like, I don't want to be the power couple. And I would get annoyed by him. I was like, I don't care about what another couple is doing. Like, so what? We got our own thing, and I'm not trying to be this power couple either. But I don't know. I like both.
I think the
But we are pretty affectionate, though. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I think
Oh, we know that. I think the power couple.
I think the power couple thing is within, as opposed to having to, because people will see you and say, "Damn."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's how I would. To be honest with you, I would look at y'all as a power couple.
I framed it to her like that, and she.
I relaxed. Yeah, I relaxed. I relaxed into
what you mean by the title. You ain't
I'm
trying to be all,
That was her old way of thinking about it.
It's a natural thing that you see in somebody when they're basically holding their grounds and doing what they need to do to be having a good marriage, or having good communication with each other and stuff like that, and growing as y'all go. That's a power couple to me. So I think sometimes being a double dating, like you said, with the right people, it can be therapeutic as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like you said, those words that the other couple gave to you or whatever, that was more really therapeutic. Yeah. Because you've been probably searching on, how do I explain this to my woman, blah, 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 and then going out, with someone else helped you do that. Mm-hmm. So it can work in both ways.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all on too, though, how your significant other comes at you about it. If they see something, how they come at you about it or whatever, and expect of you because of someone that you've been out with.
And we both had, the funny part about it is, as men, her friend, which his name is Dante, shout out Dante. Her friend, he had the same reservations. And his reservation was saying the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Mine is public display of affection and how I am with her. But his was maybe saying things about how he feels about relationships may offend me or the table. And so that he doesn't really like the double date. And I never looked at it from that perspective either. Yeah. Right? I'm thinking more about how I treat her. He's thinking about the things he may say. And I that's another reason why I wanted to kind of bring this topic up to there's really a lot of thought going into double dating than we think it is, right? There's a lot of nuances to it that you're not really talking about. And I think that when she expressed her feelings about double dating, and then I expressed my feelings about double dating, and then we went on the double date, and then what we took away from the double date made both of us look at double dates different.
So how did it go for you?
It was awesome. It was good. We had fun. We had some drinks. Yeah. Like I said, we had real genuine conversation.
So it was actually just the discussion later.
It was more it was prior to
the
double date.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was just saying, like, I really don't do double dates. I was real like not really wanting to go.
Right.
Because I really don't do double dates. I'm not a big fan of it.
Right. Is it really the display of affection? Like, is that I guess I'm missing like why you don't do them? Why it's such a thing for you?
Because I ain't trying to mess up your shit, bro. You feel me? Because I know that this gonna get you in trouble when you sitting across from this man. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Meaning like the way that I'm treated.
But why are you worried about that? Like
because I don't want to. And it's the funny thing with both of us for saying that. I don't want to step on your toes because of how I am. I'm not really worried about it, but I know that it's gonna be an issue sometimes.
Well, is that?
I know that it can be a possible issue. So in the back of my mind is looming. Okay. I'm not necessarily worried about it because I'm gonna be me regardless. Yeah. But I'm looming. Like, I don't want to make you feel bad, bro, because I'm coming in like this with my woman. And if you're not like that with your woman, it can be a bit much for you because you don't, you're not coming like that.
Is that for someone that you maybe just first meeting? Or is it someone, like, once you know that couple or whatever, is that the same? Do you still have that same?
I don't have that same feeling for that couple anymore.
So, but when you first meet them, you feel like
any double date. Now I'm open, a little more open because of my experience, and we were able to communicate and talk, and we had a very great conversation. Very great conversations, very intellectual conversations. So you said it was therapeutic. So I was mentally fed, I was emotionally fed, I was spiritually fed from that encounter. Yeah. So it was a benefit. Mm-hmm. Similar to what she was kind to say, like what my woman was trying to say, right? Mm-hmm. That this is what, if you do it right and if it's done right, this is the effect that going out with other couples can have on you. Mm-hmm. And so I learned more what she was trying to convey after the double date.
Yeah. Okay. I like them. It feels really good. I think just, again, that presence there, being able to relate, just being in a relationship is a lot of hard work. It's, and being able to see other people doing it, it feels good. And I know a lot of times, like, we might have been in a funk and then we go out with a friend, or we go out on our dates or whatever the case. Yeah. And then we come back feeling better because, like you said, we got fed. We were able to which sometimes we can't do with each other, or we get stuck in a rut or whatever. And sometimes we can kind of be fed through the people that we're hanging out with, or we're going, and be the same for them too. Like they can be in a rut too, but we all four come out and then we leave like feeling much better. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know, I guess kind of like church without the religion or whatever. It's like, oh wow, I came as community, we felt good, we were singing, we were dancing, we were talking good stuff, and we feel good. Now we go into the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mom said, I believe it's good to double date because married couples should not hang out with single people. It can cause problems for some couples. However, couples should not compare themselves to others.
Your intention. I mean, if you're going out on a date trying to be competitive, I mean,
exactly.
That's what it's going to be.
So. Yeah, absolutely.
Nick said, double dating is okay on occasions, but me personally, I love to date my man only because it gives me a chance to learn him more.
I like that. Okay. I like that.
Oh, Vanessa's in the house. What's up?
Hey, Vanessa.
I want to see what all this talk is about, big boy. Come on, Fuel, double date. Let's just see what's really going on. Love y'all. Good show. Thank you, Vanessa. She trying to tell us to go on a double date, dog.
Well,
with Vanessa. I know Vanessa. Never mind. You see me flip the camera.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's my friend, man. She's cool. She is cool, man.
Hey,
you ain't met her.
You got another double date coming up? Is that what it is?
Double date. I look like a double date. Pull up there.
She said pull up.
Where we going?
Oh no. Look, I'm hitting the wrong buttons over here now.
Got you nervous. What's the next one?
I don't know. That was it. That was the last one.
That was it?
Yeah, that was the last one. Okay, so real quick, just do a commercial real quick. My personal favorite.
Yeah.
my only.
One and only.
And we're gonna get into the conversation, you guys, with Melissa and Wayne about non-monogamy, some more stuff that's gonna be doing. See, I told you, man.
Look at you.
Some more things that we're going to be talking about for their show coming up pretty soon and stuff like that. So yeah. I'm so excited about it, man.
I'm definitely excited.
So here, let's get this commercial real quick, and then we'll get into that. All right.
Fired Up Broadcasting, the place to be for your video recording and voice-over needs. Want to be a podcaster? You can rent this beautiful studio space for a low and reasonable price. We have dynamic lighting to set the tone, on-site engineer, fully equipped with top-of-the-line quality video recording, and more. So make your appointment now by emailing firedupbroadcasting@gmail.com. See you soon.
Things that they didn't do. It was, my woman always got a good question.
We back. I bet y'all didn't hear. I bet you they didn't hear that.
Do you think, really quick, it was like the double dating thing for you? Is it that male ego thing too? Sometimes
it is. Yeah.
I feel like that's a big part of why men don't double date. It's like, who's this dude? I don't know. It's like,
I definitely think it's male ego. I definitely think that both sides. Me thinking my intimacy is too much for him. Him thinking that what he says is going to offend us, right? Just using those as an example. Yeah. And really, once we got to the table, it was like, oh, we really got along because we kind of had similar views. And then the views that we had that were polar opposite, we still were open, right, to understand. And that was the great thing about being around like-minded people and another couple, because you're able to learn how to take other opinions, right, and other ideologies that are different from your own, and able to digest them and then properly regurgitate them, right, and properly understand.
Okay, man. I don't want to keep you on. Yeah. We're gonna get talking about that one something all day.
What's next?
All right, so as you guys know that we have our guests here, Melissa and Wayne from Non-Monogamy, which is a show coming up pretty soon. Once again, welcome on back, you guys. What's up? So I think today, I for some reason I got a lot of questions today. Okay. Today I think I got a lot of questions.
Let's see if we can get through them and not get stuck on one topic.
I know, right? Yeah. We can get through it. But also because I also wanted to, although we're not able to get into it today or whatever because of the camera, we had a cameraman that was going to come in today and help us kind of like work on a certain exercise maybe,
right?
But we don't have it, so we'll do it next time, or either actually just when you guys have your show. Yeah. But first of all, I wanted to ask some questions as to how should you bring it up with your current partner about being in a open relationship, like how. Some people don't know how to bring that conversation to their significant other or whatever, because it may be embarrassing to them or whatever. But what would you guys say?
Assuming that you're already together in a monogamous relationship. Yeah. You want to take them?
I think it's a big question, right? So, but we're gonna try to squeeze it into this small space.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And so, for me, I always suggest just having a very curious conversation. I love that. That's a new thing that I just enjoy, like being curious, right? Because we tend to talk a lot, but we don't ask a lot of questions, right? And so, most of us. So
I feel like curiosity is the antidote for so many things.
Yes. So we can definitely start to ask more questions in life, just in general.
I'm one.
Right, because because it's so funny because even something is so small, like supposedly men are so logical, right, and women are so emotional. So a lot of times when our women come to us and they have issues or they have something going on and they tell us what's going on, we want to try to solve it, right? But what they most likely want us to do is just listen to them, like you said earlier. Going back to your point, and I've learned that and just ask a lot of questions. So I think just being curious, honestly, just asking a lot of questions, like, what do you think about this? What are your feelings around this? And it all depends on how you approach somebody, right? Yeah. Because I've said a lot of times, like, people say, so do you date non-monogamous people or monogamous people. I said, I feel like pretty much a lot more people open to things is all about how you approach them. So if I come at you in a very curious way, but I'm really asking genuine questions and honest and open and being transparent and vulnerable, then you're going to let your guard and defenses down, and we can have an honest conversation from a space that we can both understand, right? We have an understanding of what we're talking about. And so I think that in relationships, if you want to open up your relationship, just be real curious, just ask a lot of questions, and then, to like, what do you think about this? How do you feel about the idea of this? Have you ever felt these things? Or in a relationship, do you fantasize when you about other people when you're in a relationship, or have you thought about other people or whatever? And so just curiosity.
Can that curiosity though kind of like open up a certain door in the relationship, because maybe one wants it and the other don't, where, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, say for instance, if I was curious about it and I brought it to my significant other, and she was like, oh wow, you want to do that? That's what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And then it kind of goes and evolves into something else different, as opposed to me just trying to see where your head is.
Right.
And just by being curious, would that kind of cause conflict?
I think that curiosity, kind of answers your own question, right? I think through that curiosity, you got your answer. Yeah. Right? She answered your question. So now it's your decision to move forward, because now I'm kind of open.
What if she flips it?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, well, it answers the question, right? Because you were curious.
Okay,
you were curious. Yeah. She expressed her feelings towards your curiosity, and that's your answer. So now you have to move accordingly, right? So now you have to say, okay, well, what do you feel about me, right? Because there's more questions now. Well, what do you feel about me doing this? And she's going to say, well, I don't like it. Well, then I'm more open to these things. So now I have to say, well, I may have to remove myself from this relationship because I don't want to cheat on you, because I'm more open to an open relationship.
That's my whole point. Is like when you're with someone for a certain amount of time, especially if you putting time into this person, if you putting money, or you guys got something together or whatever, and that comes up, because that might have been actually really you, but you've been kind of avoiding that because of this person you found, you care, you love, or whatever. And sometimes what people do, they'll get in a relationship for a long time or whatever, and feel like that they can come to them about anything, and they bring something up like that. That could be the thing that killed the cat. So your curiosity. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. So what you're speaking from is a very like monogamous perspective, right? And that's not whatever. No. It's just a very like if we do this thing, it could open up Pandora's box, and it seems scary, right? But at the end of the day,
or it could ruin the relationship.
Right.
That's the
right.
Too.
Like, at the end of the day, each person in a relationship is individual, right? So now you're talking about, okay, cool. If I can't talk to you about it, then I cheat. Now what? You know what I'm saying? So you would much rather me have come to you and have a conversation, and then to continue to hide these things from you and not speak to you about them, and because I'm not able to show up in a relationship now because I'm suppressing certain aspects of myself, because I am an individual within this relationship. Right. I have feelings and emotions just like you have feelings and emotions. I have desires, wants, and needs just like you do. And I think that a huge mistake that people make is that when you get into a monogamous relationship, you're supposed to let all that go. Right. That's unrealistic. That's not how that works. It don't just leave my body because I'm with you now. Right. Now I just can't tell you about it. Right. And so, and which is unfair to both of us, right? Because I'm doing our relationship a disservice, right? By not being honest with you or myself. So I would say that these conversations, if this feels something like strong in you or something big enough in you, then you should definitely have that conversation. Yeah. And then understanding, even if she did respond to you like that, it's a fear-based response, right? And that's okay, because she could have a jarring response at first, because now you're still allows for a conversation. You may have to be patient. You're not trying to, it's maybe a long game, right? Because you already been together. Like you said, you got all these things together. Right. So what do you need to be comfortable, right? So what can we do? Maybe let's watch some movies together, or some documentaries. Let's read some books together. Let's listen to some podcasts. Let's go to some seminars. Let's get around some people who are successful and do this thing. So it's so many options, right? And it's not just it doesn't have to be just me and you having a conversation. Then you tell me no, and I'd be like, okay, cool. And now I'm plotting in my head how I'm
go about to do it.
Right, because you told me no, so now I can't let you know nothing. But I'm gonna go do my thing, So, and that's not okay, because now we're not ethical in how we moving, right? And so there are so many options that you can do. I think it's a great question because a lot of people honestly would love to know how do I bring this up in my relationship? And then to your point, a lot what is unspoken is that long-term relationships, they do die down sexually, for many different reasons, responsibility, children, workload, all that, right? And it's not going to be as exciting coming home to the person that you live your life with all these everything. They're not going to be so sexually exciting, but the person at work who compliments you, because the compliment's going to be less, the affection going to be less, because we just like, man, Esparell talks about this, like when we go out into the world, job, whatever, right? We show up as our best self. By the time we get home, we don't have no energy, right? So now our spouse gets the worst part of us because we're tired. We maybe had a rough day, whatever. And so, it doesn't feel good, And so, but then what we can do is we can still, if we had to go out, right? We maybe have to go out this evening, and I'm not feeling good, but then somebody gives me a compliment while I'm out. It done gave me energy. I feel good because she didn't see me. I'm not getting that at home. So now I get to come home with a different energy, right? So we just got to remember, just have just open mind and start to reframe things, and not in a negative way, but more in a positive way, because we're having conversations, and more people are open to things. I believe it's just how we approach it, right? Because I think that it is going to be scary, and it's totally fine. When I'm sure Melissa she says all the time, like when I used to use the words poly anything, it was felt scary to her, and we're not poly, we don't, because again, like I explained to you before, like we take a little bit from everything. We've created our own just because of, again, it's just putting yourself in a box. And I feel like it's not a lot of room for growth, but at the same time, there are definitely words that are triggering, and we just, and if we can understand that, then we can just kind of approach them differently with all the options that they have.
Yeah, I think patience was something good that you really said, like have patience. I think people come into this and like, all right, want to do this. What do we, and then they're not really giving the care and the attention to the situation. They just want to get to the good stuff and the fun stuff. So patience for sure. Allowing your partner to have, I'm kind of capping what you're saying, allowing your partner to have their response and their emotion, because it is scary, especially if you've been in a relationship together. There's a lot at stake here again. And that can be a scary thing. So kind of like, holding tight on that, and like not being afraid of your partner's response, and allowing them to have that, and giving them the time and the space for that, and being there for them and that, because that could be, like you said, jarring or whatnot.
Something just came to my head. I always hear a lot of people say, well, if you want to do this, you don't love me. I'm telling you because I love you. Right. Even if when people cheat, right, and then they say, oh, you cheat on me, that means you don't love me, you don't be no more. I didn't want to tell you because I don't want to hurt you, right? If I, again, I'm not saying I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying that understand this person didn't leave, right? Regardless, now if they're abusive, understand that it's completely different. They're mentally abusive, physically abusive, whatever, that's different. But if someone is feeling like they're not getting their needs met, they go out and get them met, but they didn't leave you. That's a conversation. Like, so why do you feel the need to have to go out? You know what I'm saying? But you're still here, or you don't love me because you're having this conversation. No, I love you. I'm in love with you. I don't want to not be with you. Right. At the same time, I'm expressing to you that there's things that I'm feeling like I'm not getting within the relationship. Right. And it's not that I'm going to go be with somebody else because I feel like they're better than you. I love you. We built a life together. I just need some other parts of me that need to be fulfilled. And again, it's a tough conversation because we all want to believe that we're our significant others, everything. But then in reality, at the end of the day, we cannot show up for somebody in every way that they need. True. And that's a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations that's put on in relationships, because especially when you rely on your significant other for everything, man, they tired. So, yeah.
Well, do yourself a favor and your partner by doing that self-reflection first before you come to.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask it just for me.
No, not you. No, not you personally. No, not you personally. I did kind of look at you though. Yeah, that was not on purpose.
You got fueled all nervous. I wasn't
for a friend. I was asking for a friend. Right, no, not you personally, but yeah, do yourselves a favor.
Because who I'm seeing? No, that was not for me.
No, for real.
It was for my friend Larry. Larry's his name. I got a guy named Larry.
I know, right? Larry. Brown Friendly said if people be true to who they are instead of being misleading, that would avoid the awkwardness and lies of
but sometimes we don't come into ourselves until we're in that relationship, and I want to acknowledge how hard that is, and that is not an easy conversation to have.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? Because not all situations was it this case where you weren't honest from the beginning. Sometimes you just don't find yourself until later, you know.
Right.
And so,
and sometimes you have people assume once they get to know you or fall in love with you, they assume that you're gonna go along with what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah, that can happen
everything
too.
they want.
Yeah.
Let you follow me. Do what I do.
Exactly.
What I say. Do.
You know what I'm saying? Let me ask you this: so, what emotional boundaries should be considered once you get into that space? Like, what emotional boundaries should be kind of considered? You know what I mean?
Space? Sorry.
Yeah, like if you get in, like once if you're open in
you start to open your relationship.
Yeah, once you actually get to that point or whatever, is there certain boundaries that you should consider, or people should consider when going into this?
That'd be based on the communication,
sense?
right? Would that be based on the communication? I just kind of want.
It sounds like you're maybe asking, like, what should I be careful about? Like, what emotional things can come up for me that I should be.
Sometimes you have people have certain boundaries, like don't fall in love. Or don't try to, if your emotions get too close to that person or with that person, then that's when you need to cut it off. Like, what boundaries are there?
Before we go there, I kind of want to rewind. Yeah, it does. I want to rewind really quick because there was a thing I wanted to say about the first question. And when I was talking about, reflecting, do yourself a favor and reflect for yourself. I think it's so helpful that before you bring this to your partner, to check in with yourself and ask yourself all of those questions. I think I brought it up in the last one of like, what is it? Why are you interested in this? What are you hoping to get out of it? What does it look like and mean for you? And all of these things, so that you can come to your partner kind of a little more solid on, what you're bringing to them, why you're bringing it to them, what does it mean for you, and what you're asking for them. And you can bring that confidently, and with love and care. And also know that when you come and bring that to your partner, that they're a whole person too. And whether or not they're interested in it, they're going to have needs as well too. And so, like, consider your partner in that conversation too. Like, I think we bring it up and like, oh, this is the thing I want to do. And then we forget how our partners may or want to do that too, and what it's going to be for them, so just make sure that you're considering the other person in this as well too. So, but anyway, back to the emotional piece. So you're saying, like, what are so it sounds, maybe you're talking about the boundaries to consider. I mean, everybody has their own boundaries. So that's first and foremost, like, there is no one way to do this. Each couple or each person, is going to have their own significant needs and boundaries that are created, for your dynamic.
Yeah. And for instance, like what you were just saying earlier about the words that you couldn't find as to, like, I just needed to check in.
Yeah.
That's a boundary. Basically, it's kind of, or would you consider that as being a boundary?
Well,
because it's kind of like
it's more of a need.
A need.
Yeah. Something that I need in order for me to feel
that she's okay,
comfortable. Yes. Right. Yes, that's a need. Like, and then I tell her what need I have, and she can agree to if she can feel like she can fulfill that need or not. That's she's still an individual, and she could be like, oh, yes, I can do that. Right. I can do that for you. Yeah. And I think that again, we're going to an unrealistic expectation when we tell somebody not to have emotions involved. Everything we do is emotional, right? We have emotions involved in everything. Like when I hear, even when men say, "Oh yeah, I can have sex with somebody and no emotion," you got some emotions. Right. There's some emotions there. Yeah. You're not just a blank slate just going in there. So again, are you able to mask your emotions better? Yeah. Because we've learned that from a very young age as men, right? As boys, rather. True. So yes, we can mask our emotions pretty well at this point because we've had to throughout our lives. Right. But to say to somebody, "Hey, don't get no emotions involved," that's like, then we can't interact with anybody.
And what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right. I think. Yeah.
But then what about like maybe as far as like, okay,
so
you can go out with somebody, but
So maybe you're talking about
I would say,
agreements. Like, how do people come up with agreements
what are you,
to keep us emotionally safe or to
what
care for us?
What are three of you guys' emotional boundaries? Or things that you use within your relationship right now?
Right.
And then that for an example.
That's fair.
Okay.
Well, I would say this: when we first started out, we had so many rules, and but as we've grown and matured within the relationship and within ourselves, things have.
Do you want to share some of the boundaries that we had? We might as well just.
Well, listen. Like for instance, like we used to go to swing clubs, right? Mm-hmm. A rule that we had was like no kissing, right? And I was like, okay, cool. I don't really like to kiss anyways. Back then, that was my like I'm good. Like I think that because that was something that it was one of her rules that she had, basically like, and I was like, okay, cool. But but
I think that back then we told ourselves that was something that was special for us, that we were keeping that intimacy, that type of intimacy for us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And but this is the big part to it is that when you create these rules, are you creating them to protect yourself because you're uncomfortable, or is this something that you really want? Because at the time we had this rule that she created, she was the rule breaker.
I make them and I break them. Right. Back then. That's good for that.
It sounds good for that.
It was a couple rules that she had created and broke. Not to say I've never broken a rule as well, but it was funny because she would create a rule and then she would break. So then it finally came back to us. Yeah, we're creating rules that is not necessarily something that we really want.
That's benefiting both of us.
Right.
And agreeing.
I'm comfortable with it for myself, but I don't want you to do it.
Right.
Is what it basically boiled down to.
Yeah.
And
that's what it was.
Yeah, and I have those same feelings about certain things as well. Like, hey, I'm good with me, but I'm not okay with you. So as we've grown, those things have changed. So now we've kind of changed the narrative and reframed it to where we've really been working on having boundaries for ourselves and not so much rules. And obviously there's things like, for instance, like, at the end of the day we have kids, so we're not just neither one of us is going away for the weekend. Like that's understand and respect the relationship. We're not staying out all night, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just again, because the truth is, like, man, we got kids.
But that's not a rule, and that's something that we've talked about and we've agreed to.
Yeah, that's why
that also
that's why
can
I'm speaking
change
to this. That's why I'm
because
speaking to
and
this,
that's easy to say that now because we're not that deeply involved with other people.
Right.
But naturally somebody can come along and be like, we want to spend more time, and then we would come back to the table and we would talk about, hey, I know we had this thing where we don't really stay out over the weekend or whatever, but my relationship with this person is evolving. We want to see each other more. And can we talk about how that could look? That up.
Right. And my thought is because, like for me personally, I would speak for myself, like, because I know we understand we have young kids. I don't want Melissa to have to wake up in the morning and have to deal with all that by herself. I wouldn't feel good about that, because we do have a team effort in how we kind of go about things and do things. Exactly. Right. And so just for that alone, I need to show up a certain way and understand that I still have responsibilities, whatever, right? And so
you really workshopping this rule live in person.
No, it's because that's not a rule, right?
I mean, not rule, but idea. Yeah. I always think anything's possible. It can happen. We really wanted to make it happen. And that's what we want for ourselves. Yes. We're gonna find a way. We're gonna make it work. Yes. So, not to.
No. That's how she truly feels. Like she feels like, hey, look,
we're gonna make it work.
We can figure it out.
We're gonna figure it
and
out.
I love that.
That's something that we really
and
want.
A lot of times, for the most part, that is what it is. Like we do figure it out and everything, But to talk about like boundaries for ourselves is what, like for instance, what do you have? What's the boundary for yourself?
Put me on the spot. I don't know what's the boundary for myself. More recently, I'm playing with this thing where if I meet somebody who has a partner, I think right now for myself, I feel like it's really important that I have some contact with that partner. Like I meet them to some extent, I'm still trying to figure out like how ideally for me, how much I want to like be involved. Cause in my mind, ideally we're like, hey, we're cool. We're good. We can talk. We have contact with each other or whatever. And it might not go. They might not want that So, but I think before I was kind of like hands off. I was like, you know, I don't have to meet them, or I don't have to know about them. Like, I trust you, I got it. Like, and then I was like, yeah, no, I think I do actually want to have some kind of contact with that partner.
Is
so
it
that's
just
kind
mainly
of
a respect thing, or is it?
It's an acknowledgement thing. It's just making sure we're all on the same page. Like, we don't need to sit down and have a whole deep conversation. I mean, I don't want to like pressure you to be my friend. But yeah, there isn't this acknowledgement, making sure we're all on the same page, and that they're acknowledged, that I'm acknowledged, that everybody's acknowledged, and you know, and that the door's open. Like, if there's any issues,
and we're moving in an ethical way. Like, everybody understands and knows what's going on. Like, oh yeah, my girl, she good with it, and then she don't even know.
Right. Yeah, remember I said that last time we talked about. I met a young lady or whatever that basically was going to be in that sort of situation.
So she didn't want you to
go. Wife didn't know. No, the wife didn't know. You know, but he kept saying that, you know, it's okay, it's good. You know what I mean? But the wife she kept asking, well, does she know or whatever? Is she the same way? Or, you know, and he was like avoiding that question. You know, would never really talked around it.
Right. And hence her saying that she wanted to meet the person just again to make sure all that.
But also because you know, I really like if I'm liking this person, you know, and they're a part of, that's their partner and that's their part of their lives, like I that means something to me too. Like, you matter to me, essentially. It's like that person matters to me, and I care about you indirectly, or you know, to an extent too, and I want you to know that I do. So yeah.
Let's get to a question Nick just asked, which is a good question. What if you begin a non-monogamy relationship and your partner wants to go back to monogamy due to not being able to handle it? Then here comes the drama, right? That's what she said. Right? She said, right?
I mean, possibly, but I think it's okay. I want to normalize, like, it's okay. Like, that's just, it doesn't matter. Monogamy, non-monogamy, it's okay to change the agreements of our relationship throughout our relationship, to come back and see, you know, the dynamic of our relationship. What does it look like? You know, all of that. It's okay.
Come back and learn the dynamic.
Talk about why
as we grow,
it's
okay to revisit maybe rules or agreements that we've had, right? Because we've grown, and I may not feel that way about that situation anymore, and now we can maybe tweak the way that we do these things.
Exactly.
Or maybe it's situational. Maybe it's that it's not that you've changed, but maybe the circumstances have changed, or whatever. You know, we get pregnant, or we're I don't know, we're dealing with a lot of stuff, or whatever the case. We're like, hey, we're gonna, you know, or that like we're dealing with conflict. I mean, we've taken breaks because we were dealing with conflicts from each other. We felt like we're not really able to show up with other people for other people right now because we're having some issues. So it's probably best that we kind of take a break right now, you know, and figure this shit out.
Brown Prinny said, very good question. That was that nickname. That was the nickname. Kissing is too intimate. That's what she said. And then she said, do you have outside conversations on a regular basis with others? What if the other develop feelings? What if you develop feelings? I think we've answered that before, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen,
right?
You know, it could definitely happen, and that's something that if you don't want that for yourselves, you can communicate that ahead of time, and you can share that concern, and you can, you know, maybe have certain practices or agreements or boundaries where that can, you know, that's acknowledged and considered, and to some extent, I don't want to say prevent. I hate the word prevent. I can't find a better word, but prevent that from happening, or making that less likely to happen. But at the same time, being honest and real that we're humans and we're connecting with people, and feelings may develop. And so normalizing that potential as well too, and having a kind of a plan of how will we deal with this if this happens, you know, so you're not like caught off guard, and you know that it is a potential that it could happen. And I'm just, people that I work with, I just want to make sure that they're not avoiding the things that could happen, and they're not afraid, and that we face them, we put them on the table and talk about that this is a potential, and we're not going to be afraid of it, and we're going to deal with it this way. So.
Yeah, one thing that me and Melissa do is when we're hanging out with somebody, whatever, as things start to shift and change within the relationship, we bring it to one another. Like, hey, so there's been a shift, and so now this is possibly happening, or we're going this. So we're always in the know as things. So it's not just come to me one day, hey, so Melissa, I'm in love. because this has already been a process of conversation over several conversations that, hey, as things progress or die down even, so it just depends. And so that's kind of how we, avoid just coming and getting hit with this all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, so we keep the lines of communication open, and we're always checking in and just going, just having updates
and letting the people know that we're seeing or getting involved with, letting them know what we're open to, what a relationship dynamic is like and not, so that they're aware of that as well too.
Well, you guys been in this field and speaking to others, or and it just more so, I guess more my curiosity is, do you find a lot of couples as well, I won't say well killed like as you guys, you know what I mean, or as open and as understanding of how to communicate and stuff like that as you guys? Do you see like a lot more couples these days like that, or is it kind of still people trying to?
That's actually a great question.
Do I feel like, are we like who like are open and
that's why. So that's a great question, and I say that because that's what I was speaking to earlier. That when people ask that, I say that there's a lot of people out here who have great communication. They communicate in an amazing way, and you just and when you hear them talk, you be like, oh wow, you get it already. Like, but it don't mean they may not have issues or having problems or cycling, whatever they're going through, but they have an amazing communication. They just get stuck sometimes, need help navigating. But there are a lot, when I honestly, like a lot of times the people I'm talking to or working with, they have the communication skills. They just may not have the tools to work through certain issues or things, right? Because they're in it. And when you're in it, it's hard to see what you're doing, while you're in it. You may just need that outside perspective to come kind of help you guide or whatever. But yes, it's a lot of people out here.
There's more like us out there,
and that's what we need you guys for. You know what I mean? Because just how you just conveyed that to me, whatever, that was a better understanding as to, like someone that has that type of communication and not able to be as open with each other,
right?
Like you guys, bring it out to them as, and that's what you need people. That's why we need them.
Yeah, I think that.
But you guys are it too. Like I know you're not in non-monogamous relationship, or maybe you don't identify as non-monogamous. But that's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's just
not because I ain't got nobody.
Right. I mean,
You're
opening up is not just opening up to seeing other people having sex with. It's really just opening up to be more our authentic selves. You know what I mean? Or opening or expanding our ideas about relationships and ideas. And you guys are doing it here. You guys are bringing up these hard conversations and having it, and that's what it is. And that's why that's why there's more people out there like that, because they're just willing to have these kind of conversations.
And I get it, because where we come from, and I'm speaking to us, where we come from, this is not the norm.
No,
right? We don't,
absolutely not.
Right. And so, but as I've gotten older, and I've always felt like I was, peer pressure never worked for me. I never drank alcohol in my life. I couldn't tell what it tastes like. Never tried any drug, whatever. So, and I grew up in Washington D.C. and Gary, Indiana. So I know hood. Like I know, hood is right. And so, and I was in both of them when it was the murder capital of the world. So again, I know where we come from.
Right.
And so, and sometimes I get frustrated because I go into these spaces that are open and so they have these conversations. When I go in them, there's nobody who looks like me. And I get frustrated because I'm like, man, we need this for us. We need to see that we can have these conversations as well, because this would be so beneficial to us, because we know that if we can have these conversations, it can be so we can work through so many things. It can heal us in so many different ways. Right. But when we hanging out with our friends, when we go back home around our family, whatever, we know what that conversation is like. This is not, it's not this. But you guys definitely are modeling for when you go back home and you go in your environment and you go around the people that you can model and start to show them that there's a different way to communicate. There's a different way to show up. And like she said, it's not just with open in relationships, it's open in everything in life, with dealing with your kids, dealing with your other relationships, maybe friends, work, whatever, right? Thinking about your job or education, right? How I look, even something like a job, right? We go to a job every day because we have to do it to make money, and then we end up getting trapped in that, right? And what we need to always have is a plan to try to figure out what is that I enjoy doing in life, and if I can figure out a way to make money in that, then that is ideal. And I'll just use this right now for what what I need to use it for to get me to the point to where I'm now in a space where I'm making money doing things I enjoy. Like for me, I worked in the entertainment industry, right? And I was stuck and I was frustrated and I was
clarify your entertainment industry because
sorry,
this conversation.
Sorry. Yeah,
this conversation.
Good point. I worked in like television and film, right? And I got frustrated, and my energy.
That's still not clarifying. No.
I work for different networks. I work for different networks.
Like
I wrote for
TV or
for television. I wrote
not porn.
Yeah, I wrote.
Not porn. I'm sure. I mean, with the conversation.
Right.
Don't listen to Phil, y'all.
That's what people would think. I'm sure they would think that.
Yeah, I wrote for some comedians.
Yeah, when I tell people he's a dancer, I have to.
See,
we're like,
right. Yeah. So yes, I produced, associate producer on some shows or whatever, like television shows that was on television. Network. So, and I was down and just I probably was at the lowest point, in my, in that I can recall in my life. My energy was low. I wasn't feeling good about myself. And she was like, yeah, I think that she was going through a slight depression during that time, right? Because I just wasn't happy with what I was doing. And I had to, once I was able to figure out something that I enjoy doing that I had passion about and I could make money off of it, man, when I tell y'all I wake up every day now, I wake up happy, I wake up excited, just with the things that are coming to me right now that I feel like I've been manifesting for a long time. It just feels it. But I wouldn't even be able to enjoy this if I hadn't opened up in other ways. I couldn't be present for what's going on right now because I would still be dealing with all the other stuff. And I've had to let a lot of things go. I had to change the narrative on some things. I've reframed some things in my life, and I just see things completely different than when I was younger.
Right.
And so I completely I really do understand as we get older, we become wiser now, right? Because it just makes so much sense to me. And so now that I understand and I know that, like the old things that used to entertain me and make me happy aren't the same for me today because I'm in a different space, so to bring everything together, we change, we're in different spaces, so things in relationships change, and when we open up, it just opens us up in all aspects of life for many other things. So
we got questions here. I don't know who this is. Facebook developed.
Let me jump on it.
Somebody said develop whooping ass, but I don't know what that means.
Develop an ass whooping.
That's what it said. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Is that ain't Dusty, is it?
Are they swingers? Got on the convo late. Y'all ignorant.
That's why I put the title up there. So
that's how y'all jump in.
We have experience in the swinging community.
How do you feel this shapes your relationship? Makes it stronger or weaker? Does it expose things differently than when you were in monogamous relationships?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely does.
That's
it definitely exposes things for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of things that we have to face about ourselves in opening up our relationship. Dealing with other people brings up so many feelings. Like Wayne was talking about, using your example. I think what you liked about learning from the date that we had was like, you were like, oh, I don't know if you felt this. I'm totally making this up, but it was like, oh, maybe I'm not jealous. Maybe it's just that I feel left out. And it might seem the same, but it's a little bit different. And it's enough to be like, oh, wait, this is not outside of me that feels like out of my control. This is actually just because like, oh, I'm feeling left out. You know what I mean? Like, is that you understand that?
No, it's to make sure. For me, it's more so inclusion. Just that I want to feel included.
Oh, whatever. Left out. Yeah, that's what I said. It's the same thing.
Okay.
I feel left out. I want to be included.
I got caught up on the jealousy thing.
I'm saying you're not jealous.
Right.
Yes, it brings us closer.
Yeah. And so, so to their point about bringing things up. We're able to talk about things that aren't able to be spoken about in monogamous relationships. So we talk about honesty. Like we can be more honest. We're probably, people would be, I say this every time, like people would be shocked at some of the conversations that her and I have with one another, that you just cannot have that in a monogamous relationship. So and everybody want to talk about how they know their partner so well. And we know each other, but you can never know about their fantasies. Because you would feel some kind of way they told you about their fantasies and who they fantasize about and who they were attracted to, because that would threaten you, possibly. So again, there's things that you don't know. You think that your significant other is at home when y'all having sex and they not thinking about somebody else sometimes?
Right.
You think they're not fantasizing about somebody else? You know, like not saying that it's everybody in the world, but let's be honest. Like we all have eyes, we've all have visions, and we all fantasize and have desires. So again, you know, but we can't have these conversations, you know. And I think that's, again, it's a detriment to the relationship, because it does not allow us to show up in our full authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that we can't have some monogamous people can't have deep conversations. I would never say that. I'm just saying there's certain aspects of that that we have to take out of the relationship that we can't talk about.
Or tiptoe around, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does it matter, like, if a secondary partner is monogamous or not, or polygamy, or what's the right word? Polygamous? Polygamous? Is that right?
Yeah, polygamous.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Does it? See, on somebody we're saying, it doesn't matter if they're monogamous.
Yeah, like if does it matter whether they are? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody has a different opinion on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it again, like-minded people. We're talking about like-minded people. It's easier to be able to relate and connect when you're on the same page. You understand,
Right.
you know, each other, and it's hard when you have to, you know, teach somebody or explain yourself, or feel like you even have to defend yourself, because some people could be interested in you and, you know, have a lot of opinions about non-monogamy, and then you're like, wait, so are you feeling me or not? Because I feel like you're really attacking me.
Right,
I feel like I have to defend myself, so this doesn't feel good anymore.
And then I don't want to be involved.
And I don't want to be involved anymore.
Exactly.
So, you know, so sometimes from that aspect, it does help to meet people who are non-monogamous or are open to it, or, you know, have some exposure to it or whatever. But, you know, it's a small pool of people out there. So.
Yeah. So recently it's came up for us because, you know, we a lot of times end up dealing with somebody who is monogamous. Well, recently we've been, And so, and I was like, man, now moving forward, would I want to deal with somebody who's monogamous? If I meet somebody who's monogamous and they be like, yeah, you know, that's not for me, whatever, then cool. Then that's not for you, and we're not, whatever. But if I meet somebody who's monogamous, they be like, you know, yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm open to seeing what it's about with you. Then I can work with that, right? Because I have opportunities to help kind of show you that there's the benefits to it, and what it's not, that it's not what you believe it to be, right? But if you already coming in with like, yeah, no, I can't do it, then there's nothing, like we can't do anything.
Yeah. Which leads to my next question, like, what is the we talked a lot about a lot of the pros, but what's the cons of being in a monogamy?
Yeah, that was gonna be my next. I was gonna say, that's crazy. I was gonna say something about challenges, but go ahead.
Yep. What's the pros in being in a non-monogamous relationship?
You can.
I'm sorry. What's the cons? What's the cons?
We've been talking more about
the cons. So the cons are the dating pool is smaller.
The what now?
Dating pool is smaller.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. The way people may view you. Or
there's a stigma.
Yes, there's a stigma.
Non-monogamy, and you might not be able to, you know, depending on how comfortable you feel, you might not be able to be open about your relationships. Right. And there's a lot of people being non-monogamous, you know, in secret, or not being able to share.
Right, because of their career, family, you know, church, whatever, you know. Those are two that
it can change your relationship. If you are opening up your relationship, it can change your relationship. You know, and it can change in a way that it ends that relationship.
Exactly.
And that is a real potential.
Yes.
And I don't know that that's always a bad thing.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it's. Just personally, I wouldn't think it has been a bad thing, because you learn now, and that person is not that person for you.
Right.
You know, you just still kind of continue looking for that person. You know,
and you're able to kind of move forward, right, without doing what I think we do in monogamous relationship, is just cheating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
To basically avoid the hard conversations that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
I think what you guys offer is not, like you said, it's not just for non-monogamous relationships. Exactly. I think that monogamous relationships could really benefit from them, because I deal with this, right? It's having those tough conversations, and the way that we react to those tough conversations could be detrimental to the relationship, whether it's about double dating, whether it's about having an open relationship, or whether it's just about how we properly communicate with each other.
Exactly.
Those are the challenges that you will face, and that can be difficult to tackle. And if you're not on the same page, it can really show you, hey, well, maybe this isn't the relationship with me or for us, because we can't even have the difficult conversations. And I think that what I'm learning is it's not if the difficult conversations are going to happen, it's when the difficult conversations are going to happen.
Exactly.
And are you prepared to have those difficult conversations? And when you are having those difficult conversations, are you processing those difficult conversations correctly?
Exactly.
And are you reacting to those difficult conversations correctly? And I think everything that you guys are talking about are small tools that helps with getting you through those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Because understanding that whether it's a non-monogamous relationship or it's a monogamous relationship, this shit is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're going to be hit with it hard. Yeah. And are you in this relationship enough to face this hard conversation with courage, right? With accountability, with the ability to respond, right? Yeah. Right. And I think that that's a dope thing, because you have a responsibility to have that ability to respond to yourself, to be able to properly digest some things, your emotions, and to be able to say, hey, you know what? I didn't like that. Yeah. But not, I didn't like that. You're getting on my nerves. Right. It's an issue. Yeah. How do we get past that? And so I think a lot of the things that you guys are talking about are huge benefits for just relationships in general, right? Rather they're platonic or non-platonic, right?
Yeah. I believe, hopefully, one of these days that there's not going to be monogamy and non-monogamy.
Right.
It's going
to
be
relationships.
It's going to be relationships.
And for me, this is again goes back to my point about me, as I said last time, about people being therapized. I truly believe in therapy at this point. I think that a lot of us deal with a lot with so much trauma, you know, in unhealed wounds, and so we bring them into our relationships, right? And so now it's expected that the other person, you know, is supposed to be to know how to take care of you. This person don't have no training. This person has not done the work on himself. How can he help take care of you? You know, so you're asking somebody who has no experience and no idea how to take care of somebody to take care of you, right? It sounds they're not qualified for that job, you know. And so, I do believe in couples therapy, maybe coaching or whatever, like or couples work, because I think that what we've lost is the ability to know how to talk to one another. Yeah. Right. So we are very we can be what some would call disrespectful, and I just think it's more.
Some are just basically try to so-called be secretive,
right?
About their, you know.
Right. But I'm speaking to the point like our reaction can be viewed a certain way because we don't know how to express our emotions without getting angry, upset, or attacking, or being spiteful or
being
whatever.
Mean.
Yeah, being mean.
I have a thing of being mean. And I'll say some wild shit.
Right. Because these emotions swell up in us, and we just gotta attack. You know, it's better instead of, like we spoke about before, about just being vulnerable in that moment and being like, man, that hurt. It didn't feel good to me. Right. Like, you know. And so now, because now we can, at least now, if I know that hurt you, I can address what I did to hurt you. I can address your feelings. But if you say something crazy to me, then I say something crazy back. There is no conversation at this point. We just going to
just arguing, and disrespecting each other.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One real quick question. I got a real good question, I guess, on here, or a comment actually, that but before I get to that, real quick, family, like, do people in the family look at you differently? You know what I mean? And does it kind of I don't know, limits the relationships with your family? You know what I mean?
I think our family looks at us differently, but not in a bad way. I think we're very fortunate to have a very supportive family, you know, who are open to us on both sides, who are very opening and loving and understanding and encouraging to us and support us. So, but I say they look at us differently because I do think that they look up to us. I think take care of my grandbabies. Yeah, exactly. That was her thing. That was the only thing my mom said. Just make sure the kids are good. I'm like, God, but I think they look up to us. I think that they admire us, and I think that they see, you know, just they see all the positive and good things about us, and it's hard to like have a negative opinion about us. I mean, they crack jokes all the time. So
Yeah,
that's okay. But
yeah.
I think it's good, and we're just fortunate to have that. Not everybody is.
Right.
And I would say like it's because now we're looked at in a as a progressive way, like, oh wow, you guys are, you know, showing us a different way. We're modeling for them, right? So much so that when I remember hanging around Melissa's family, it's, you know, when early on, and they saw her kind of like young still, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like young girl almost, you know. And so, but today, her aunts and come have conversation with her and ask her questions.
Oh yeah.
You know, because they notice she has a level of understanding at this point. So now, you know, the little girl has grown up now, and now she's a wealth of knowledge and information she can share with the family and help the family at this point now. You know, so yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, I got this last comment, you guys, and I'm just to think what you guys think about it. I thought it was kind of interesting, but you're going to get this, especially from your shows and stuff like that.
Get
so, you don't know who the Facebook user. Facebook user, say your name.
Facebook user.
If you don't have a relationship with God, then you can do whatever. But be in a monogamous relationship is just consensual cheating. Y'all might as well be single.
Right. So
you're gonna get that.
Yeah. And I don't mind that. You know, I don't mind that. You know, what's so funny about that is that you will be in 10 failed monogamous relationships. You'll never say, "Oh man, monogamy. You shouldn't do monogamy."
I'm done with monogamy.
Right.
No,
I'm done with monogamy. Right.
Right,
But I'll be in one monogamous relationship for 20 years, 20 plus years, and both of us are happy when neither one of us are being abused or whatever. We're
lied to or
right. Our kids are amazing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, you know, like what are we talking about? You know, like we, you know, we use religion and God as a crutch, as a defense, because you feel like some type of way, like it impedes on what you believe in, your beliefs, right? Like for instance, like when people see two gay men walking down the street, they'll be like, "Oh man, I can't believe he out there because it's gonna make my kids gay." No, that's making you uncomfortable.
Right.
Understand it. It's okay for you to be uncomfortable, but I'm not trying to push my values on you. I'm speaking to people who are in a space where they want help. They want something different. They're seeking out answers, you know, because they're feeling some type of way. But if you believe that, then by all means, continue doing what you do. You know, like moving the way you move. If that's what works for you, you know, like
I think that's a good note to kind of like, you know, to kind of go out on, man. How long has it been? Lord, 2 hours. We done it again. We done it again. So once again, you guys, Melissa and Wayne will be having their shows real soon on Tender Tuesdays called Shades of Non-Monogamy. I think it's still 7 p.m. or earlier.
I'm gonna pop in. I'm gonna be on first.
Whatever time.
Okay, we'll get the time. We'll get the time right. Maybe a little bit earlier, whatever. But so keep checking out our pages and stuff so you guys can see when that starts. It's going to be a heck of a show. They're going to also be doing certain exercises and stuff like that, you know, for different type of relationships. And although we get into that, there's a lot of different type of relationships that you can be in when it comes to non-monogamy as well, right? So we're going to be, you know, they're going to be talking about that too. Because y'all probably tired of them being a guest on my show. Or our show, right?
Hey, we like the dinner club. You know, they had the breakfast club. We like the dinner club.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think about that. No. So yeah. So you got anything, Fat Boy?
No, man.
Hold on. Let me get you guys information as to where they can actually get in contact with you if they have questions or even, you know, like you said, classes and stuff like that they want to get them.
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just to go to our website, shadesofnonmonogamy.com, because we have all of our social media on there linked, and, you know, all of our services and things like that. So Shades of Non-Monogamy. But for Instagram, it's shades_of_non-monogamy. Okay. You can reach us there. Yeah.
Okay. That boy.
Once again, you already know. I just want to say y'all thank y'all again for coming and gracing us with y'all presence, but then also with y'all knowledge. I always appreciate y'all. It's always beneficial. It's always informative. It's always a space. I think you hit it on the head, Melissa. I think that when we all are in here together, I think that there's this special space and special chemistry. I'm so much looking forward to you guys' show. I think that you guys, once again, have a lot to offer. Like I say, not to just non-monogamous relationships, and not just a monogamous relationship, but to platonic relationships, and to friendships and things like that, and just understanding how to navigate tough conversations. I think that that's the big. I think that that's what every time I see you guys, that's what I learn, and that's what I take from you, is that that's how you guys have become so successful, is you know how to have those tough conversations. I think that every time our viewers get something from you, we always get a random comment, are they swingers? And it's funny. But it's always, just the naiveness. And then once you guys get done, there's real questions, if you notice, right? Yeah. There's like, oh, the swingers are here. And then after that, it's like, well, what do you think about these things? And how do I? And so that's getting people to learn, and people are growing, right? And you're changing the cognitive thinking of others, right? Through your message and what you guys are conveying. And I think that's dope. I think that just told you. Cut it short,
Man, it's almost time.
Thank y'all.
We way past the time.
And,
I guess we had another comment. I don't know why she said, and God would honor that 20-year failed relationship. I don't understand exactly what that meant. I don't know if that's Nick or who that is or whatever. But yeah, we're getting on.
Somebody who probably I would love to know their relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Their relationship
get
history.
Back to that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You talking about you spending energy on me? I would love to know what you got going on.
Exactly. That'll open up the whole.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of opening up that door.
But maybe later we can really get into it. I mean, really quick. I think it's an important conversation to have. One, I think I used to avoid before, but non-monogamy doesn't mean that spirituality doesn't exist. Doesn't mean that relationship with God doesn't exist. And there are many people in this that have a relationship with God, who are religious, who go to church, who are spiritual. So it both can exist.
True. Okay. There y'all have it. And appreciate you guys for tapping in. Share this. Actually, it'll replay again later for those of you guys didn't tune in live or weren't able to tune in live. We're going to be actually posting it up again later on to this evening, and maybe even during the week. I don't know. We'll see or whatever. But we appreciate you guys tapping in. That's going to do it for me. I'm your boy Fuel.
It's your boy Fat Boy.
And remember this. Oh, shoot, I almost forgot. And remember, if they talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Peace.
I love y'all.
Man, I can't wait till
Man, hey, like with comments like that, to me, they be so.
All our illusions will get the parade, and all the reasons start to fade.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Reasons, the show where you can give your reasons why you think what you feel about what we're talking about today. We should know this, man. We say no.
Dear brother, how do y'all deal with erectile dysfunction when you're in a relationship?
I wouldn't know how to deal with this. I had it. And remember, if they're talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Hey.